Let's talk about the gatekeeping basketball conversation, because I know that's you. I think you're a proponent of gatekeeping basketball conversations, which is why I'm surprised you're even having this conversation with me. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
So
my
so thank
gosh.
you for extending your gatekeepness to me. Yeah. Well, let me
It,
ask you: Is that still your sentiment? Do you think we should still gatekeep?
absolutely. Absolutely. We need to gatekeep conversations because people just, I promise you, Hala has said this, and I swear it's the greatest thing that's ever entered my mind. If you just if you just ask people 2 to 3 questions, they don't even really realize that they're 2 to 3 questions away from their whole argument falling apart. And there's nothing wrong with it, but nobody's ever challenged their opinion. I
Mm-hmm.
think there's a level of hands ondedness that comes with any and everything. And everybody's fine to have their own opinion. You can be out there, you can have your own observation. That's cool. That's cool. But if you haven't physically done this act in some degree, you shouldn't talk about it. And then there are levels to this. Like if you and I started talking about,
Now you got the ball
you know,
rolling. Now hold on, chat going crazy.
if
But
you
go
if
ahead.
you
Go
and
ahead.
I started talking about basketball and I don't know, college player X at a D2 level came in here and started talking about basketball, I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna add my 2 cents as soon as he's like, "Yo, Omar, you're tripping me." You know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. And on that same level, if somebody from D1 or from the G League came in and started talking, he should shut the hell up. He should shut up. He can have something to say, but once he starts to get out of pocket just a little bit, shut up. And then once the real ball talkers, NBA players, Hall of Fame, all that stuff like that, shut up. Bron already told us there's people that are out there in the league. They don't, you know what I'm saying? They don't even like care about the game. They don't know the game or whatever the case may be. So it's different conversations. It's just different conversations. It just is. I don't know what to tell folks. It
So
just
is it
is.
just a matter of like, yo, I have more credibility than you, so whatever I say is right compared to you?
I think that people with credibility can be wrong. I think that we've allowed a space where people who are unqualified or underqualified can have just as big of a voice as people who are qualified or overqualified, people who live in that arena. The Rona told us everything we needed to know. When people were coming out telling doctors, "No, you're wrong. You're wrong." The Rona, it's a infection.
That's
It's an
Bro,
infection.
that's completely different, dog.
It's an
You're talking about people
infection.
with PhDs have studied this shit for, I don't know, 8 years, spend $200,000 on their education, versus, I don't know, Joe Budden telling you like, yo, the Rona ain't real. Like, that's different compared to the conversations we're having about just contextualizing NBA history and statistics.
So
That's
it's
different.
it's the only the no, I don't think it's different. I don't think it's
That's
different.
different, dog. Come on, bro.
I the only reason why I don't think it's different is because people get into these spaces where they start to tell older people. Now again, for me and you, we're having a conversation. Ain't nobody gonna check us. It is what it is. People feel comfortable enough to start telling some of these older players how good or how tough or how talented some of the older players that they played against are, and they're trying to say to them, I mean, they're literally trying to scream at them like, "Yo, I played with Michael Thompson. I played with, George Gervin. I played with some of these guys. These were some of the real deals. All these folks weren't plumbers, and you saying, oh, they wouldn't be able to even step out on the floor with Sadiq Bey. Like, people have really lost their mind. People have lost their mind, B-Souls.
I just feel like for basketball, like, I just think the gatekeeping conversation is weird because, like, if you're the person who's more credible, you have all the room in the world to just prove me wrong logically. And I think when you, like, dissect these conversations, one, it's just a bunch of prediction shit. So it's like, I don't care how credible you are, it's a prediction at the end of the day. And number two, a lot of it, again, it's not even like, it's logic based. It's logic based. It's not even on some like, oh, you've never hooped for real. We're just thinking about logic. So for example, the Atlanta Hawks, you have never I'm assuming you've never managed a basketball team, right? So how can you sit up here and say that the Atlanta Hawks has they're bad management? They have a bad managing team.
And mind you, it's my opinion. If somebody from the Atlanta Hawks came and they checked me about it, that's a different conversation. So if you and I are having it, that's fine. The minute that Travis Schlenk walks into space and says, "Yo, this is da 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 da," me, yeah, I guess if that's your shit, I guess I gotta shut up. But when me and B Souls, two dudes who haven't managed a team, talking to a chat of 197 people, shouts out to the big 197, but talking to 197 people, yeah, I'm gonna get off my emotion filled feelings about why the Atlanta Hawks are idiots for thinking about trading Trey Young. Like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. Look at you.
That's so dumb. What the fuck?
I don't know. I don't see
Again,
how that's
I just feel like if the logic is there, we can just have a conversation. I disagree because of this. Okay, I see where you're coming from, but like it's just a conversation. I don't think like to gatekeep conversations. Oh, you can't talk about this because of X. Like I'll just, if you say something dumb and I'm the more credible guy and I know more shit about this thing that we're talking about, I'ma just say that you don't know what you're talking about and this is why. To say that that person shouldn't have a platform or shouldn't have a voice in this conversation. I mean, ultimately I just feel like it's up to you to choose who you listen to and who not to. You know what I'm saying?
This nigga cardiac. Look at your mods. This is so nasty. What's it called? But I'll say
Cardiac,
this because
you can join the stream too. Anyone in the analytics right now can join the stream. So
yeah, cardiac he's a clown. But if you've heard Hollinger and Nate Duncan's podcast, like they do an episode. But you know, John Hollinger he was GM or president of basketball operations, but he was high up in the Grizzlies organization at one point in time. So what he does every time they have a conversation about, you know, former vice president of basketball operations for the Memphis Grizzlies, whenever they talk about a move or why a team did what they did, especially when it's something fishy, like, oh, they traded X person to get underneath the apron, and they gave him a rider and a kicker and this, that, and a third. Nate Duncan will be like, so, you know, when would you ever, as a part of the management team, when would y'all ever do something like this? Because he might have his little opinion, and then he'll say, well, let me defer to you on this one. But what I see quite often is people have their opinion, and then once it's time for somebody who's actually been doing it, gives them pushback, they're like, nah, I wouldn't. Nah, you don't know what you're talking about, man. I could only imagine if Nate Duncan was like, nah, John, I think you're stupid for thinking that, you know, this is the reason why, or this could be a reason why. I just think X, Y, and Z. Like, that's stupid to me. That's stuff like that is stupid to me. You know, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
So if Russell Westbrook because last year there was that whole conversation about Russell Westbrook's brother going into that space and everyone essentially doing what you did, or what you're trying to say. Someone's more credible, just shut up, essentially, because he's more connected in X, Y, and Z.
Ray Westbrook play basketball?
Okay, maybe Ray Westbrook specifically is a bad example, but let's just say, I don't know, Kendrick Perkins came in that space and said, yo, Russell Westbrook's an elite scorer today, man. Even though we know he's averaging 18 points a game prior to the Clippers. Let's just say Lakers Westbrook, 18 points a game on bad efficiency, shooting 41% from the field, 29% from three, 60% from the line. Are you just going to sit up here and say, Kendrick Perkins was in the league, man. He has more basketball credibility than me, I guess. Is that what you're going to say? Or are you going to give pushback to that because there's a logical reason as to why you can give pushback to that? Regardless of how much basketball you've ever played.
I'm defaulting to Perk, man. He's smart. He's smart in this situation. He knows something that I don't know. Do you know what it's like to be an elite scorer in the league?
No.
Have you ever been around him? You know what it takes, all the I don't know, man. I'm defaulting to Big Perk, man. Big perk. Big.
So you're gonna say he's right when he says that.
I'm saying, hey, perk got it. Perk, hey, perk, and whatever he says, I'm gonna say, you know what? I never thought about it that way. Big perk. Big. That's a big perk of having perk in his space right now. Big perk.
So when his logic is just that, hey, when Russ is on, he's on. That's it. And when he's having a good night, he can drop 50. That's his whole logic.
Shit, I'm gonna finish his point. And when he's off, he's off. But perk right, when he on. So, shouts out to Big Perk, man. Shouts out to Big Perk. I don't know what folks want to hear. Like that's. I trust Perkins because he been in the league.
This nigga know he lying. If the fucking front office nigga from the Hawks came in here and was like, oh nah, we really moving on from Trey Young because whatever front office issue they want to say, this nigga Omar.
Okay,
y'all don't know what y'all doing.
Who's the Atlanta Hawks
don't know what
GM?
y'all doing.
Who's the Atlanta Hawks GM right now?
They just promoted a woman today.
A G League nigga, or was it, I thought it was a.
Okay, whatever.
Look at that. Look at that.
I thought it was a nigga from the G League. I just seen the name.
When I say just be so,
that was within the last hour. When
I say just be, I mean since we've been on stream, they just promoted
somebody.
If the Atlanta Hawks GM came into this StreamYard right now and said, "Yo, the move for the franchise is to trade Trey Young and build around John Collins," to that you say what?
I ain't gonna lie, and this gonna sound crazy sexist. I don't think you know what you're talking about. We just got here. Like literally.
What if the former? Okay, so the former GM.
Okay. She's no. She's not. She's not the GM. She's the vice president. But I get the. Let me see.
But even that, like, she still has more managerial experience than you. So do you just default to what she said? I don't care.
The GM of the Hawks. The GM of the Hawks is Landry Fields, the nigga that just got promoted like last year. Yeah. No, I'm not gonna clown. No. All honesty, I'm not gonna clown either of them. Hey, you understand, and you've laid out the vision. I think the main problem is that, like, why I would have issue with it is because I can't see the vision. And when we were in that space, I was like, yo, if somebody could just name me, what you mean?
That's going away from what you originally
said tomorrow. Yo, let's trade LeBron. Let's trade Anthony Davis, and build around Wendell Gabriel. I think we all have enough. I don't care about credibility. That's a dumb move.
Insight about basketball alone would mean that we could at least say,
at
the very least, Rob Palinka, you're an idiot. Like we know basketball enough to have that conversation. I get where you're coming from. I understand. You shouldn't be able. Some niggas definitely be having conversations. Like I threw it in the chat. I don't even know if you've seen it. That space we had when Ron Artest's brother came in there. Shut it up real quick. I shut up quick. Hey, we started talking. We was in there talking all day about one-on-ones.
Real ball.
I'll post move you. He came in there. Well, how big is you, Domo? I'm like, credentials. That nigga said his. Yeah, Ron, my brother. I'm his big little brother. I said automatically mute. And there's nothing I can do here. There's nothing. What the fuck I'm supposed to say? Oh, I'm a fake post spin you, nigga. There's no way. He started listing on fucking overseas achievements. What I look like sitting there going back and forth for him. Omar got it there. But to say there's just credentials alone will eliminate niggas from having a conversation. If Rob Palinka came up there and was like, the real reason why we really went after Westbrook is XYZ, and I'm supposed to just sit there and just not say, oh, well, that's why they did it. I can't criticize him making an idiotic move and wasted a year and a half. But I just let it go.
You should be like, hey, man, the options that were available, hey, it's a little different out there. I think that's where it stems from, though, Damo. Basically, what you're saying about actually playing. Mm-hmm. I'll talk all this mess all I want. And mind you, have I said anything about G since I actually played with him?
He definitely. Hey, I will say, definitely been quiet about G. He ain't said G's name once.
And mind you, I wasn't talking too crazy when he first got in there because even just off of the build alone, I was like, After I seen him play, both of us.
That's different though. Okay. That's trash talk versus just like logical conversations. I don't.
No, but I would make an illogical conversation. I would make an illogical conversation against anybody when it comes to playing basketball. Now, once I've seen your bag, or you can tell me your credentials, or you can show me. That's why I ask people, like, show me a jump shot. Just show me one jump shot. Show me you doing a right to left crossover. After that, I'm gonna continue it. But after you show me that, okay, you got a little bit going on with yourself. Let me just go ahead and shut up. If you think that's different, but
I don't know what G did in that open room with Omar, but Omar is legit.
Yeah.
He ain't even said the letter G since that day. He ain't even.
It was the first.
letter.
I told y'all the first play, literally like the first play. I go right to left on my dude. G is coming from the left corner. I throw it like Wade, and he catch first bucket, catches it behind his head here, and finishes the alley. And the game stopped for 2 seconds. Everybody's like, "Yo, you bringing?"
Well, let me ask y'all this: Is this specific to basketball or any conversation? Like, what about music? What about film? Cinema. And shit like that?
What I will say,
any
it depends. No, it's not any conversation for me. It depends what the conversation is. If we're sitting down and we're talking about just the quality of someone's album, I don't give a fuck how many Grammys you have. I don't care how many records you've sold, nigga. Niggas can tell what good music is without having to know how to make good music. So you can have a conversation with I don't give a fuck if Swizz Beatz came in here. If I feel like a product is trash, Swizz Beatz coming out saying Chloe Bailey album ain't trash ain't gonna change my mind if I think it's trash. Like, you give a fuck, you give a fuck how many credentials you got. If something like musically, if something is trash, I can say it's trash without having to put out or sell one record. But filmmaking, shit like that takes actual niggas have a conversation about filmmaking and they ain't never recorded a fucking Vine or TikTok. That's just dumb. Like, I
just feel like gatekeeping in this context is a little bit too close to censorship. And at that point,
some people should be censored, B-Souls. Some people should be censored.
To the degree not, you're saying though, I don't know, man.
Mind you, but you know what? And maybe this is where the misunderstanding comes from. If you want to have the conversation, fine. You and your others that are inexperienced, y'all need to have that conversation somewhere else. But where Swizz Beatz is having the conversation, where Kevin Feige is having the conversation, where what's his name, George Lucas is having it, where I don't know, Shania Twain or whoever in these spaces is having this conversation, don't come over here and have it. And I think that that's part of the problem, like on the internet, is there are some people with actual certified credentials who will just show up. They've been doing stuff for years and years at a time, and they'll be in the midst of conversations with people who don't know what they're talking, like just literally live in a bubble and have their lived experiences. So you can have your opinion. You need to have your opinion with the other folks from Alabama who didn't graduate high school.
But that's what I'm saying. I that's the reason why I don't think
that's not a shot. No.
But that's why I don't think gatekeeping is necessary, because I think socially we just naturally do that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like
that's wrong.
I feel like when a JJ Reddick comes in and brings up both stats and like actual experience, everyone just, okay, we're just gonna naturally give you more credibility in this conversation over someone who, I don't know, is 17, never played basketball, and just sits online and looks up basketball reference stats. We just naturally do that.
I guess so. Even if you say we naturally just go ahead and give that person the nod, the other people that don't give them the nod, you need to understand why. Hey, don't listen to that guy that drinks bleach. I said drinking bleach is okay as a way to get rid of the Rona. It wasn't. It's not. You should have never been listening to him. That was stupid. And you need to be talking. Somebody needs to say something.
But if that guy has done more research than you about exactly doing that,
then who? Like, you talking about the person that's agreeing with them?
No, the person who's telling you to drink bleach has done research as to why you should drink bleach.
I'll tell you what, if I'm the person, if I'm X person, I don't know nothing. Somebody tells me to drink bleach. Okay, cool. This is the research they presented, and this is what they're saying, and it sounds good. First, I have the ability to investigate, but even with that being said, okay, I hear you. I take it in, and you know what? I'm gonna start drinking bleach. Now, as soon as somebody comes in, listen for real. As soon as somebody that comes in and says, "Hey, don't do that," I'm actually a nurse. I know that this guy's an entertainer and a store stalker. and he said drink the bleach. Me as a nurse, I'm telling you, don't drink the bleach. Okay. Now, if somebody above her comes and says drink the bleach, if a doctor comes in and says drink the bleach, guess what? I'm right back to drinking the bleach. I don't know. 2 versus 1. One of them's a doctor. I'm drinking it. And then if the head of the CDC comes and says, hey, don't drink that bleach, me, I don't know, man. Gotta favor the CDC head. Gotta favor the CDC head.
I guess. I
That's
just feel
just
like for certain topics, like actually having a professional in there is like damn near a necessity. Like medicine and shit like that. Yeah, I think it's damn near necessary to have someone who's been in the field for 20 years to have these conversations and to tell what's right and what's wrong. But when it comes to, I'm gonna just be on like trivial shit like NBA, music, anime, and shit like that, I don't know, man. I just don't think gatekeeping is really that necessary.
I can get that. You don't think sometimes it's like because sometimes I catch us, or I try to at least. We'll be having a conversation about like transgenderism and stuff like that, and somebody will say something and then somebody will counter it, and it sounds a little wild, but we're just in there by ourselves. You never catch yourself and say, you know what? All of us are like straight, heterosexual men, and maybe lucky. And none of us are like on the spectrum at all as far as sexuality goes. And we don't know what we're talking about. It's a bunch of people guessing about hormone therapy, about how they are psychologically. Like, we don't know too much about this firsthand. At some point, it's getting a little out there.
I only feel that way.
You should just get called out when like you should just. I just feel like with anything that you say whatever the fuck you want, but when you just be prepared for pushback for whatever you say, regardless of what it is.
Okay, Nick Fuentes.